That is just how Inzaghi plays. He's very, you know what? To be honest with you, Arteta is the only coach in the world now that is very similar to Inzaghi in terms of like he can coach both aspects of football, the offensive and the defensive part. I'm going to give you an example. People think that we parked the bus against Bayern Munich. I'm just going to tell you something. Do you know in the first half, we had more position than Bayern Munich at their ground? But in the second half, we had only 27% ball position. And in both, we were perfect. Like when we had the ball, we still created chances against Bayern Munich. And it's just Arteta is kind of similar. Arteta abandoned the Pep style completely. Inzaghi doesn't have a set style of play. As I mentioned before to a lot of people that watch me and watch my takes, we are the highest position-based team in the Serie A, but we are the lowest base position-based team in the Champions League from the remaining teams. Can you imagine that? So he can actually coach both sides of the game. A lot of coaches can do this, but Inzaghi can. We can sit deep and be very like we did it against you when we sat deep at our own ground and we were very comfortable against you. And also we took the game to Bayern Munich. You know what I mean? Like we took the game to Bayern Munich. Like Arteta is moving towards that. Is that good enough to win the Premier League? It depends. You need to be perfect the majority of the time. And Inter are not perfect this season. We're not perfect this season at all. But we're still the best team in Italy. We're still the best team there. I think we're the best team in the Champions League. I actually think so. Because we can play both sides of the game. We can defend, we can attack. So no team can say that. Bayern Munich know only one way of playing. PSG know one way of playing. We can do both. And that is different than everyone you know, right? We can attack, we can defend. And that is just, people don't know that. But Inzaghi is the genius in this aspect sometimes.
Who's the favorite to win the UCL this season? I would say it's Barcelona.
I don't think so. I think their defense is wide open. They're going to play us the second leg in the San Siro. I actually think we can win at the Camp Nou, actually. Win a game and take a lead back.
I just want to take a second. You started off the video by comparing Arteta to Inzaghi. I also done a similar thing with RIP Kevin Campbell. He came on the channel and he said Arteta is closer to George Graham in his defensive thought process around Arsenal than he is to Arsene Wenger, which is more free-flowing attacking manager. And I don't think he abandoned the Pep style. I think he has different ways of playing. And you know when people always say Arsenal doesn't have a plan B, Arsenal doesn't have a plan B, it's bullshit. It's because you can clearly see when we play PSG compared to how we played against what do you call it, PSV, for example. We play two different ways against teams that are opening up against us than we do when we face an Everton, for example, or what's a good example of a team in the Premier League that plays a really defensive block that we beat? West Ham. When we played West Ham at their ground and we beat them, was it this year that we beat them convincingly with Jesus and everybody and Crystal Palace? When we had our players, we were playing attacking football and it was really nice for 3 games. That he has different ways of playing. I fully agree with you. But this is also another reason why I think people underrate Arteta is because we haven't won yet. Arsenal not winning has left a stain on my club.
But here's the difference. When we don't break low blocks in Serie A, do you know what we do? We lure the opposition out. You don't. You keep the same exact way of playing. That is the difference between Inzaghi and Arteta. Like, I've seen my team failing to break low blocks many times. So what happens is we sit deep a little bit. This is the Allegri style of play. Allegri said that years ago. He said that sometimes he would let the opposition have the ball for them to come out of their areas. He would let the opposition try to come out. Arteta doesn't do this.
No, he does. He does that to teams like Tottenham.
No. We do this to any team, bro. Sometimes when we go 20 minutes and we fail to break that low block, you will see our team passing the ball between the goalkeeper and the defenders, trying to lure them out. Lure them in or whatever.
He does that twice against other teams that have good attacking quality, and he does that when we have a lead. That's usually when he would do that.
No, but normally, by the way, any team in world football, if you pass the ball at the back, and you get your players back a little bit, by definition, the opposition will push their line a little bit hard. Just by definition. You get my point? By definition, they will try to come at you a little bit. And that leaves spaces. Allegri did that with Juventus. Inzaghi does this with Inter. Arteta is yet to learn this.
No,
And that is what
I don't agree with you, Mo. It's not that he's yet to learn. He's executed this exact same method. It just has not worked because the personnel are not clinical in the final third.
How would you do that? Didn't you have games this season where you tried for 90 minutes to break low blocks and just failed, and you kept doing the same exact thing over and over again?
Let me give you examples, okay? Chelsea at their ground, they played. We gave them the ball. Chelsea at their ground, the 1-1 draw, we gave them the ball.
Yeah, but that's Chelsea. I'm talking about playing West Ham. I'm talking about playing Everton.
We ended up scoring in the 60th minute, and then we continued to give them the ball, and that's where they ended up getting the breakthrough.
Why didn't you do this against Everton when you failed to break them? Okay. Why didn't?
Which one? The one at the Emirates or the one that we recently
played? The one you drew 0-0. I can't remember where it is. The last one you drew 0-0.
Okay, so we drew against Brentford 1-1. The 0-0, I don't remember the last time we drew 0-0.
Everton, didn't you draw Everton 0-0 or something like this?
Yeah, 0-0 at the Emirates. So the game at the Emirates.
Let them come out. Let them come out. Let them commit 4 or 5 players. And then you hit them.
The game at the Emirates, once again, it came down to not being clinical. If you remember, Jesus was playing well at that time. We had a good opportunity to score just before halftime with Mikel Moreno, if I'm not mistaken. There was moments in the game. Martin Odegaard, Martinelli.
We also do have moments at Inter. Also do have moments.
Once again, and we also had Kai Havertz, we had Saka, we had Martinelli, we had Declan Rice, we had Odegaard. We had a really fit team at that point. The reason why we struggled to break through is because in that final third, we don't have somebody in the box that can actually finish those chances. Kai Havertz is not clinical. Martin Odegaard, a chance lands to him. It's 50-50 if he gets the shot off properly. But Kyle Saka is more of a creator at this point. Martinelli, we can't get the best out of him because really and truly, Kai Havertz is occupying similar areas of the pitch as him at times. And I really do think whatever excuse you think I'm making right now, the reality situation is Arsenal, if we did have a center forward this season, we would be able to get a breakthrough in those 0-0 draws, in those 1-1 draws. I do think Arteta coached a win. It's just the players could not execute it. And it shows in the statistics in those games. The 0-0 draw against Everton, I'm looking at the stats right now. We had 13 shots, 5 shots on target. And majority of the shots are inside the box. How is it that they're only executing 5 shots on target from 13 shots, majority of them inside the box, only 2 of them outside the box? 11 shots, Mo, inside the box, only 5 on target is crazy.
It depends on the quality of these shots and who do they fall to and all this stuff, bro. Like, in my opinion, I still think that you should listen. I actually think that Arteta is a very, very good coach, and I've stated that. I've been slaughtered by other Northside and Lee Gunner and Dan Potts and all these people because I said that I would take Arteta Inter because I think he's a very good coach. Do I think his recruitment is bad? Sometimes. Do I think he's so stubborn? Yes. But I genuinely think that Arteta is a good coach.
Let's talk about this.
He's learning, though. He's still learning. People think that he has been coaching for 20 years. He's learning, bro.
All right. But there's a big topic I want to discuss, and I think this is the perfect time to mention it. It's in the title of the video. I don't know if you know the title of the video yet, but really and truly, beating Real Madrid the way that we did, bro. Is it safe to say, even Real Madrid's fans are telling me, at this moment in time, it's safe to say Arteta is a better coach and just not managing players or egos or anything like that, but just tactically on the tactical side than Ancelotti.
You can say that today after the game, but I have seen Ancelotti with great tactical master classes against Man United when he was at Milan, against other teams as well at Real Madrid. You can say that in 2025, you can say that. You want honesty?
Yeah.
It's going to sound so mad. If Inzaghi wins the league this season and he leaves, if you're asking me tomorrow, who would you take at your club, Ancelotti or Arteta? I will think about it and I might lean towards Mikel Arteta.
Of course, bro. Real Madrid fans themselves are saying Arteta is at Real Madrid this season. They get much better out of the players. I really do look at Ancelotti's Real Madrid this season, and I feel like he gives too much freedom to the players, and there's not enough of a system. We talk about robotic football. Real Madrid shows if you don't have the right structure, you can't really, even if you have the best players in the world in many different positions, you're going to struggle against many teams. And Real Madrid this season, they've struggled with adapting with the new players. And Mikel Arteta and Pep and all these other managers, when they get new players, they coach them how to play their way.
Yeah, I don't think Ancelotti coaches people how to play his football because
Yeah,
he adapts to the players he has, which is it's a great thing to have. But
that's why Real Madrid in general have seen so many different players struggling to mesh.
Ancelotti is one of the greatest managers to ever coach in the sport because he's a great man manager, and he had back in the days, Ancelotti was fantastic tactically when he coached Milan.
He's a player's coach. He's not a
yeah, but the difference is, there are two ways of looking at coaches. There is the coaches like Thomas Tuchel who can set a team to win in a one-off game. You get my point? And there are coaches like Antonio Conte, for example. Antonio Conte coaches a team to win league titles. If I tell you that in the history of the sport, Antonio Conte won as much league titles as Ancelotti, you would think I'm mad. If I'm not mistaken, Antonio Conte won 3 with Juventus, if I'm not mistaken, or 2. 1 with Inter, 1 with Chelsea. Ancelotti has won 6 league titles. So the difference might be 1 between both coaches. Can you imagine that? Antonio Conte, who's like gets labeled, he's a shit cup manager, because he is a shit cup manager. Antonio Conte doesn't know how to coach a team in the cups in a one game off when he faces something different. Ancelotti is great in this. You're muted, or you muted yourself, or
sorry, I muted myself because I don't know what I was doing. Sorry. But yeah, I was just gonna say, I agree with you. There is a difference between club competition managers and league managers. But Ancelotti, why he's so good in the cups is because he allows his players to have those moments, and a lot of moments players have played for Ancelotti. He's been in some of the best teams. He's at Milan. Just look at how many quality attacking players he had that could produce a moment out of nowhere. Real Madrid, a lot of quality attacking moments. Now, early in his career, he probably had a lot more tactics and had a lot more drills. But currently, in this iteration of Ancelotti, the reason why a lot of Real Madrid fans would say they want Arteta over, and why I think Arteta is currently a better coach than Ancelotti, look at Kylian Mbappe. You're telling me if Kylian Mbappe joined Arsenal today, we would not be seeing better performances out of him than what we've seen at Real Madrid with the likes of Vini, with the likes of Rodrigo. The reason why I think Rodrigo is so good still this season, even though the team is not playing as well, is because Rodrigo is a player who has to learn how to adapt. Vini, the team adapts to him. Mbappe, the team adapts to him. Jude Bellingham, his first season, the team kind of adapted to him. And I think this is where the manager needs to step in. And I haven't seen enough for Ancelotti stepping in there. And I do think Arsenal, as much as people want to banter Arteta, one thing he's great at, Declan Rice, he's embedded him in right away, and he learned what he needed to do. Mikel Moreno, he said it himself. When I came to Arsenal, I didn't know what the hell I didn't know this was how you could actually look at football differently. He's learning new things. All the guys who come in, they're talking about learning new things. So maybe that's one major thing he took from Pep. It might take Arteta a year before you see a signing be really amazing, but at the same time, at Ancelotti's, he if the player is not playing well in the first 6 months, there's no evidence that they're going to play well in the next 6 months, because he's not going to change.
I agree with you, but this is why and also Arteta now has developed some players at the club: Saka, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, Ben White, David Raya, Declan Rice, Thomas Partey.
Guys, about Arteta, about Bukayo Saka, they'll say it's Emery's.
It's not Emery's. Who made Bukayo Saka a 20+ GA player a season when he's fit? It's Mikel Arteta. Who made Gabriel from Bozo, get him out of my club, he's shit, to this? Who actually made Gran? Okay, you know what? Let's just be honest. The majority of the Arteta outers, we haven't replaced Xhaka. Xhaka shit. Xhaka's great. We haven't replaced him. 2 years before Arteta, Xhaka, get Xhaka out of the club. How is he the captain of this football club? He's a shit player. Now Arteta comes in, embeds him in the system, right? And plays well. We haven't replaced Xhaka. You were the same one who wanted Xhaka out. You're the same one who wanted Gabriel out. You're the same one who said Ben White is shit. Why we spend 50 million on Ben White? You are that same one who said Saka's a left back. Now you praise him as a right wing.
Raya, don't forget Raya. Why did we get rid of Ramsdale? Ramsdale's getting mistreated. Now you see Ramsdale struggling at Southampton, and you see Raya doing amazing things. Honestly, bro, at what point will the fan base stop calling the manager stubborn and realize maybe they just don't have the answers?
I get their point that he has to win a trophy, which is if you call yourself a big club, he has to win a trophy at some point in his career. You cannot keep this forever. But in the same time, you can admit that he's a good coach, but maybe the league is stronger than him. Maybe he doesn't have the facilities to win the Premier League, right? Maybe he doesn't have the facilities to win the Premier League. Maybe he needed better. Maybe he needed better players. And that is his fault because he got so many signings wrong, right?
Thank you for watching that short clip. Hopefully you enjoyed that video and you left a like on the video. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about the discussion that we just had.